Howdy, howdy, Year 10s. We're going to do an experiment. Professor Bones is going to help me out here. You will need your textbook. We're going to do the experiment, will it precipitate? You'll find the experiment on page 166. And I suggest, just so that you know what's going on and so that you can write an aim, read through the method. So you might want to press pause now and read through that method. Thanks, Professor Bones. All right, let's get set up. Right, the other thing I've done to try and make it a little bit easier for you guys is I wrote the alphabet out along the results table. So I'll show you in a sec. So just down along the side, I've just started at the top, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, went all the way around. I haven't set up the back part of it yet, but just follow the alphabet through, okay? Okay, so the first five have all got copper sulfate in them. I decided to use larger test tubes than the micro test tubes. Hopefully you'll get a better view. Might as well put enough in there so that you can see it. Yep, beautiful. I've put a piece of white paper behind it as well too to try and show up the colour. So by now, what you should have done is you should have the products of the word equation. So you should have the products of the word equations written out there and then circle whether a precipitate is going to form. What you're going to do while you're watching this video is you're going to write down your observation. You can do the chemical equation later, all right? But you must predict your precipitate. So you can write the word down, circle it. That'll save you a bit of time. And then you must write in your observations as this experiment's going on. Okay, so I've added the copper sulfate. In A, I'm supposed to put sodium chloride, in other words, aka table salt. Silver nitrate, remember anything in a brown bottle shouldn't be placed directly on the surface, and I probably should be wearing gloves here, to be honest. So I better make sure. Cobalt chloride, I'm going to add that one. What I'll do once I'm finished is I'll hold them up so that you can see them a bit clearer to see if there's a precipitate. If it just changes colour, but there's no solid, then it's not a precipitate, okay? Next one, sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is a really strong base. And the last one is potassium iodide. Okay, so A, B, there is a slight precipitate in there. C, just looks all like liquid, but it has changed colour, so you can note that in your observations, but there's no precipitate. Let's have a look at D. What do you reckon? Lovely. Move this on back a bit so you can actually see the colour. Hold it towards the window. Lovely. Okay, the next 4, I'm going to add sodium chloride to each one of them.
Nice clear liquid.
Silver nitrate. Cobalt chloride. Sodium hydroxide. Potassium iodide. So that's F. It looks like a precipitate to me. Look, you can see the solid down the bottom already. G. H. Now, that is not a dirty test tube. This is what you would call slightly soluble. So there was a small precipitate in there, and your last one, which is I, which is your potassium iodide. Okay, J, K, L all have cobalt chloride in them to start with. Sodium hydroxide. Potassium iodide. Silver nitrate. That's J. Look down the bottom of the test tube. Sodium hydroxide in M, N, and O. Silver nitrate will go in M. Got to make at least one blooper. So that's N. And this is M. So I'll go back and I'll do M now. Sorry. So N was the sodium hydroxide and silver nitrate. And I'll go back and do sodium hydroxide and potassium iodide. O, cobalt chloride. Gosh, I wish you could see that colour. It's like a wicked purple. So M, I'll just bring it forward. Hopefully you can see through my screen. It is not a dirty test tube. I'll zoom in. That's your silver nitrate. Down the bottom. I wish you could see that colour. It is so cool. We only have one left to do. That's P, which is potassium iodide and silver nitrate. Okay, A. B. C. D. E. That's not a dirty test tube. G. Looks pretty clear. H. Check that out. I'll give it a swirl. I. Look at J. K. L. M. Give this one a swirl too. Let's have a look. That's M. N. O. Oh dear. And P. Massive thank you to Professor Bones for being my assistant. Nice and safe, safety first. All right, see you, bye.